All right, so let's invite our next guest, Eric Chan, the co-founder and chairman and group CEO of CARSOME. All right, Eric, I would like you to introduce to our audience about yourself first.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. First of all, thanks for having me. And I think many of you might not be very familiar with me. I'm Eric. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CARSOME. So we're the largest used car e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia. I think where we are now is we're covering in Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Philippines as well. Beyond selling cars, we also have offer services like financing, insurance, after sales. So almost everything that you can think of cars, we provide that service to our customers. And we do it in a very digital manner so that we take away the hassle when it comes to you thinking, whether I got the right price, the right condition. So we put, consumer essentially in the control of the whole journey of owning a car.
All right, so Eric, let's start about talking about yourself. What kind of personalities do you think you have that keeps you succeed in your career and drives you constantly for a goal?
Sure. So I think coming from CARSOME being the third venture that I have started, and the first two failed miserably, it's a lot of perseverance, right? To really continue to have that entrepreneur spirit. Especially setbacks, mistakes oftentimes lead to negative emotions, right? So I think as a founder, I found myself in a position where I always have to pick up myself and be ready to restart the journey, right? And of course, I think the first couple of years of CARSOME was great. We managed to scale it in the region really well. But in between the whole journey, we started in 2015. So coming to now, 2024 is the 9th year. This 9-year journey full of ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster ride. So I think without that without a really strong perseverance, it's going to be really hard to carry on, right? And continue to have that mindset after 9 years doing the business. You kind of need to reset the whole way of you thinking about why you started CARSOME to how do you bring it to the next level, which again, right, is a journey, it's a new chapter. So having that mindset of being very persevere is going to be probably the key element on almost any entrepreneur that I see.
What is your interpretation of perfect partners? Did you find them?
Yeah. So I started the business with a co-founder, so JT, all right, the two of us. So when we first started the company, I actually thought that he would be the CEO, I would be the COO. And I think the both of us kind of aligned towards an understanding where if we were to start the business, it could actually go really far, right? But as we scale the business, become a company that have a lot of thousands of people and all. So like right now we have about 3,000 people across Southeast Asia. And we even have an engineering hub in Beijing, where it's more of an R&D development hub. So I think coming to the scale of having just two of us to managing thousands of people, we sort of switch role because of how we see we could better utilize our strength. And I think defining a perfect partner is no better than having someone that put a common goal together, right? Instead of personal interests, instead of talking about how much equity you have, how much interest that I have. We are all going after the one single ultimate goal is to make this company successful. And I believe that really cemented their success because if you see a lot of companies, there are many founders who always fall into conflicts, right, and part ways. But after 9 years, we are still really in the business, doing different things, trying to make it more successful, a lot bigger than what we are from like 9 years ago. And I think we see eye to eye in having that ultimate goal and trying to reach it together. Yeah.
Talking about common goal, so your goal is to create automotive ecosystem powered by data and technology since 2015 when you started the business, right? Do you think you have achieved your goal?
I think we have achieved a lot of success, especially creating transparency in the region. So Southeast Asia, it's not just one country, right? There's multiple countries like Indonesia with 600 million, and then you have Thailand, you have Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines. So every market is very different, but you find one common thing is when it comes to buying a used car and selling it, right? The whole market is very fragmented, is very lack of efficiencies, partly because most of the trading process is offline. And when we first set upon trying to solve the customer's problem, when like, for example, if you want to sell a car today, where do you go to, and what kind of price you can fetch. So we wanted to create a platform that we can assess the car condition, so that in turn we can match it to a demand across the entire country. And to do that is you really need to be able to create digital tools to allow that matching to happen. So we started very simple with one service, is helping consumers to sell the car in the quickest manner. So everything can be done within an hour, and we see strong tractions. Like for example, the first month that we are selling, when we operate in 2015, we were selling 30 cars in the first month. Now we are selling about 15,000 cars per month. So to be able to really scale, from year to year, strength to strength, to that number, I think a lot of it comes down to our ability to really leverage on technology to build digital tools in between the whole process of trading and layer on top of it, which is something that has not been done before, right, in many parts of the world. And secondly, we have utilized data also to be able to make sense out of what kind of price that we could be offering in between, right, the supply and demand. Because at the end of the day, if you want both sides to meet in the middle, the seller need to be able to get a good price. The buyer need to be buying at the lowest price possible, right? And we are a platform, we are a business that in between, we need to be able to monetize well. So we managed to really implement a service that people enjoy it. And as we go into really looking at data to increase and optimize our conversion, so it really helps create success as we replicate from one country to another. Because the market dynamics is very similar, people having the same issues, and our technology and data is able to really layer on the trading process, country to country, city to city. So that helps us to really penetrate into the market, which present a much more superior option, right, for people who is going after those services. So those things continue to evolve over time as we build on more tools. So we allow people to also now, if you're buying a car, you're able to get financing in within a couple of minutes approval. So all this can be done digitally, and we are able to also have your insurance renew immediately on the application. And these are being reminded because we have an ownership app that we have built on top, so that as you own a car, you get to really understand your price of your car every day. So it moves according to the demand in the market. So these things are how we really think about from the consumer standpoint, what really helped them in creating that understanding, providing the information, so that when it comes to making that decision, everything is very well informed.
So you have expanded your business to Malaysia, Indonesia, right? Thailand, Philippines, and
Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia.
yes. So any comment on the Southeast Asia market? Is it a unified one or still separated? And does it have any impact on your expansion?
Oh yeah. So I think for anyone who is operating in Southeast Asia would always see this as a very interesting topic, because every country is different. All right, culture is different, language is different. Locally, even within the country like Indonesia, there's 100 over different languages. So it makes it really hard to navigate, right? To build a strong operational team on the ground. So which is something that a lot of the discussions towards to be successful in Southeast Asia, your localization need to be strong, right? And localization comes from how do you handle the rules and regulations when it comes to, for us, the car industry itself. how do you manage a culture of team which, thrive on different languages, and they need to be able to build on top of a company culture, which have to see and get them work together, right, at the same time. So I think a lot of this, innovations, culture building, and even down to hiring and navigating towards the local partners, it comes down to how do you find localization at best, right, within your company. Then you see more success towards some of the countries that you operate. So for us, it's not an easy journey. It's not smooth where we go in and we immediately find success. It took us time to really learn, how do we differ ourselves from the others that, in the market, despite we see similarity between the countries. There are things that would help you find the inflection point, which is important, right, for us to really scale in multiple countries.
So do you have any future expansion plan to other parts of Asia, like Hong Kong, Macau, or mainland China?
Yeah, we've always been looking, and on our cap table we have investors who are from the East Asia, be it from Japan, from China, from even Korea, for example. We have Middle East investors who also thought about bringing us into the Middle East region. I think the fundamental core of the business in terms of coverage is right now in Southeast Asia. We see the ability for us to expand to places like East Asia or Middle East, right? The rest of Asia, put it this way. I think the main pull for us to really think about which place to go to next is firstly the market size of a car population. Has to be sizable. Because it has to make sense for us to see that there is enough scaling power, right, potential for us to reach, to be, as we become the number one, say, for example, say in Hong Kong, it has to be a business that is, a couple $100 million to even $1 billion business, right? So we have to explore first, market size. I think secondly also whether the market dynamics require a business like CARSOME, right? And does it have enough innovations? Does it have an incumbent? And I think in many ways we find certain places have markets that has the potential for us to go to next. And actually even within Southeast Asia, we still see like Vietnam, for example, is a really good market for us to go into. So chances are in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll be looking at another 2 or 3 more markets closer to home in Southeast Asia, and then also probably in the other parts of Asia.
All right, the last question is the advisor to several other startups. Do you have any advice for young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so I spoke of one, to be persevere, right?
Okay.
That's very, very key.
Yeah.
And I think to have the perseverance quality, one thing is you probably have to be really passionate in the way you think about your next 10 years being indulged in this business, right? Like this is a 9 year in the business for me, and it's very, like, I still keep up the same spirit when it comes to going to work, right? You want to wake up fresh in the morning and say you want to go to work, right? So I think to be able to continue on the path, on the journey by itself, it requires a lot of passion, right, in the things that you're doing. Yeah, so I think keeping things exciting and continue to think how do you make the business a lot more in line towards the visions that you first built. That helps you to keep the passion up. That helps you to keep yourself being very perseverant in the entire journey.
Thank you very much, Eric.